You're listening to PMN Tonga with John Pulu.
Malo ni si o to ofa malo mo e lau maari a hou e ki pia mo e kakai whanua malo e tau mau e whiawhini. Hou e ki pia mo e kakai whanua, you are listening to our program coming to you live from PMN 531, broadcasting live on air as well as online. Now joining us right now is Dr. Billie Lythberg, who is an art historian and anthropological researcher, currently based at the University of Auckland Business School. She joins us right now because she's going to talk a little bit about her career, that a lot of it has been dedicated to studying the Pacific textiles, in particular ngatu, faka-Tonga, and how they are made and mobilised. She joins us right now. Mahalo lelei to you, Dr. Billie, and welcome to our Polokalama.
Malo lele, John. Thank you for having me.
Tell us more about your passion for our kolo faka-Tonga, which is ngatu. I understand it started from a very young age.
It did start from a young age, but not specific really to ngatu. I was lucky. My grandfather had a really beautiful relationship with a gentleman who lived in Noumea and had family ties to Uvea and Futuna. So as a little girl, I had a couple of beautiful pieces of bark cloth from those islands that were on my bedroom wall, and I didn't really understand them. And what I kind of liken it to now is that we would receive letters from this wonderful gentleman in Noumea, and they would be written in French.
Wow.
My grandfather didn't speak French, he spoke English, so we would try to translate these letters. And I think that in a way those bark cloths were kind of similar. We knew that they were really beautiful. They had these really beautiful intentions, these wonderful gifts, but we didn't really entirely understand them. So through a long process of studying at the University of Auckland and working with artists, I've come to know more about them, but more specifically Tongan textiles and other amazing treasures in museums around the world.
What is it about the texture or the material? What is it that draws you to it?
So first of all, I think visually, I think they're just extraordinary. That's got to be the first thing, right? That
Yes.
brings us into contact with any kind of art form. Next, definitely the texture. Hey, I think it's really important that we're allowed to touch things and experience them and feel how they're supposed to interact with us as people, with our bodies. I love the smell, quite often smelling things in museum collections. The collection managers can be a little bit worried about that because of the things that have been used to treat them. But gosh, most of us who are working in collections we're touching and smelling wherever we're allowed to, trying to learn about whether, what things are made of, where they may have been, how they may have been used. Yeah, so it's everything.
Maria Alpito. Now, talk to us about this project with Tongan women that you've been doing some study. Talk to us more about that, please, Doctor.
I think what you might be referring to is the work with a project most recently with Tongan artists. So we had a wonderful project running since about 2017, working with Dagmar Vaikalafi-Dyke, and Felipe Tohi, Sokolimalama Felipe Tohi, as our lead artist investigators, working with a group of us here at the University of Auckland, including Phyllis Herder, an anthropologist, and Melenaite Taumoefalau, just wonderful Tongan
Indeed.
linguist, poet, academic. Yeah, so that's our little core group, and we've had many others join us on our journeys around the world, around Aotearoa, around the Pacific, while we learn more about Tongan collections. And really the focus has been on their importance and significance today and for the future, right? So really big focus on legacy, the legacy work that collections do and that artists are largely responsible for bringing forth for us.
And it is such a beautiful koloa that even this day and age, they do still make it handmade. I mean, I know there's some who make it with that cloth type material, the ngatu, but it's just not the same, as, seeing and feeling the actual original ngatu. Can you tell us more about some of the research that you've been doing with the Tongan ngatu in particular?
With the ngatu in particular. So it's interesting that you talk about this pepper layer, right? This vilene, the incorporation of vilene into ngatu making. And because my doctoral work was looking at that and looking also at other kinds of innovations. And innovations, really in and on Tongan women's terms. So what were the kautaha in Tonga interested in exploring and experimenting with, and what things maybe would be a little more, there'd be more resistance to them. And I traced those sorts of innovations right back really until the early 18th century voyages and the collections that were made there, and sort of tried to look at how things may have been changing over time. So yeah, interesting that you bring that up, because that has been a really strong focus of the work that I've done. But one of the really interesting things has been working with contemporary Tongan artists, looking at these 18th century collections and looking at things that seem not to fit with the kinds of types, right, that we expect that we'll find in collections. But when you have a Tongan artist, ngatu maker, looking at them, they're like, hey, actually, I can see that this could be Tongan, and this could have been made by some of my ancestors.
Wow.
And it doesn't matter that you guys think it looks too modern. They're like, I can see that this is resonating with me. Yeah, so I think that idea of innovation is a really interesting one.
Mo'onia Pito. Now, I understand that you've been awarded the Marsden funding, and you've travelled the world with fellow academics and Tongan artists investigating and learning more about the textiles. In terms of this research, what do you hope to gain and share with those who may not know about our beautiful koloa or treasure?
Well, fortunately, the sharing has been going on the whole way through. So we've had a lot of seminars and talanoa sessions with people as we've gone along through the project. We're really right at the end. We're writing up a couple of volumes that will talk about all of the work that we've done and cover off the extraordinary work that Dagmar and Felipe in particular have produced as a result of all of the work that they've done in the collections. We had a conference in Nuku'alofa in 2019. So it's really important to us that the major dissemination started there before we started to do that really serious end of project work back here in Aotearoa. So we've been just kind of doing that all the way through. What we hope to gain's probably not quite the right word. It's more like, what did we hope we could compile and collate so that other people could go visit these collections? And if they can't go and visit, how could we make these things more readily available, either online or through publications, through word of mouth? It's really been about making sure that those doors are open and that things that knowledge reciprocation is actually happening.
That's fantastic. And is there one that has stood out for you? I know there are different types of ngatu, and I know that my mother would be angry if I didn't know all the different types and how they are classed. But is there one that stands out, or one that has patterns that you really like looking at?
Do you know what? There's just a whole lot of us who are completely enchanted by a beautiful ngatu that is in Madrid. And it's supposed to have been given to Alessandro Malaspina, who was an Italian in the service of Spain. He one of these European explorers on an expedition of scientific exploration. And for various reasons, mostly political, when he arrived back in Spain, everything on the boat was confiscated and put into sort of lockdown, basically. So what that means is that there's the most extraordinary, completely intact, exquisite, highly detailed ngatu from the late 18th century that is still in Madrid. It's the only intact piece from the 18th century that we know of. And boy, is it spectacular. It's just phenomenal. And a number of Tongan artists and academics and scholars have been to see that already.
Wow, that is so awesome. And I can't wait to see any images of that too, because that'll be, it's like our version of the Mona Lisa. It's a ngatu.
Yeah,
A beautiful.
it's wonderful.
Oh, yeah.
Wonderful.
And with that comes with a rich history and a lot of hard work to put create a piece like that. So we're very grateful for the opportunity to have you on our program this afternoon, Dr. Lythberg. And then congratulations to you and the team for the work that you're doing to bring an insight into this and to share the stories with others as well.
Thank you. Thank you for letting me share online with you like this.
Well, we look forward to hearing more of your project, and we welcome you back in the near future as well. But for now,